father used to say that a man could never outdo a woman when it came to love or revenge. Why don't you just let her have the house? There are other houses. There are other women. No, Gavito. I'm going to win because I've got her to accept the ground rules. Oliver, there is no winning in this. It's only degrees of losing. I got more square footage.
Oh.
No, we needed that clip.
No, we needed the cat, too. I don't even think I have more square footage. As far as the personal space is concerned. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, I'm great. We almost we're in the same color scheme. This is nice.
We did not even call ahead to plan.
No.
Have you ever seen War of the Roses?
I have not, but now I am intrigued. That was an excellent lowish high five.
Thank you. I appreciate. And spoiler alert, they both kill each other at the end.
God damn it.
Something to think about. Well, hello, new co-host.
Hello, co-host.
Thanks for finally joining me. I've been looking forward to this for a long time.
I'm excited I'll finally get paid.
Well, still up in the air.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of was hoping you were going to do this out of the love of just, I don't know, creative process.
It's certainly creative at points and a difficult process at others. But I'm very happy to be here.
I am very happy to have you. And for those of you just tuning in, because why would you have watched me beforehand?
Seriously.
Now there's a reason. You're not supposed to fucking agree. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Joanne.
Yes, I'm a Libra. I enjoy walking on 9th Avenue.
Don't stay away from 9th.
Yeah, so a lot of you subscribers, thank you, know me from Fox News Channel. I took Bill's old job there.
Forcibly.
On a little show called Red Eye. And I was there at the network for 2.5 years, but I left about, I guess, a year and a half ago to pursue my acting career, which a lot of people have now been asking me, am I still doing it now that I'm here? And the answer is yes.
I'm insulting.
I'm still pursuing acting because thankfully with this job, I can do both. This is as I like to phrase it, very low risk for me. But hopefully high to moderate reward.
That is, you are asking a lot of both me, the show, and America.
Yes, definitely. But I have faith in you all. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing, past year and a half acting work. I've been on Gotham a few times. I just had an audition recently for a TV pilot. So things are going really well.
I think you told me about the pilot thing. Is there like an acting thing where you don't want to jinx it so you don't want to say too much, like saying break a leg?
Yeah, kind of. It's just because then people will ask me about it and it's super depressing to constantly be talking about the job I possibly don't get. So.
I empathize like that about that. If someone asks me if I'm working on a story, I'm like, well, I'm pitching A, B, and C, and then absolutely nothing. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. Well, I was going through older shows. Well, of course, hanging out with my 3 model girlfriends. But to find the first time you were on. And I have a clip here. I'm trying to remember how, did I think I reached out on you, via DM on Twitter?
Yeah, well, I think it's because someone, and if you know who you are, tweet at us. I think someone suggested that you have me on.
Yes, that's it. You're absolutely right. I completely forgot
And
about that
that's
part.
when you reached out through DM, and I was like,
it's direct message for those of you not aware of the whole Twitter thing. Yes.
Not BM, although we all need a good one of those.
Oh, we'll get to that story.
Yeah. But yeah, I just was surprised I wasn't asked earlier, Bill.
Well, I don't know. I don't think ahead, all right? I barely know who's going to be on the show this week, much less tomorrow. But, yeah, and then, of course, you came on, I immediately fell in love and used and abused the privilege way too much. I think there were times where I had you on 3 times a week without getting paid.
Yeah. I just didn't have a lot going on those weeks, so.
Welcome to my life.
I was able to do it.
Not a lot of actresses have a lot going on at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah, that's true.
But here is a clip, I believe, of your first show, and you can see I was already smitten.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody does that.
Whenever I see movie clips, I always just think about the casting process. Like, what was that? You get the breakdown for this, prostitute, and you're like, I have to say what? All right. What's my motivation?
There is a great, I hate the word bit, but there is a great bit.
Arlie Ermey was the best part of that show.
What?
When he was like, "Do you suck dick, Sergeant?" He's like, "Bullshit! You can suck a golf ball through a garden hose."
Yeah, there's
an amazing line.
He was an actual drill sergeant apparently back then.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
we had him on Red Eye.
You know who he is. He's been in a million things. That's right, we did, of course. Yeah, my brain is oatmeal. But there is I think it's.
Why Joanne got your job?
I think it was, and as far, you bastard. It's still too soon. There is, I think it's, as far as, maybe it's too soon to say his name. I think it was a Louis C.K. bit, but he kind of talks exactly about what you're saying, where,
well, that was Louis C.K.'s bit, right? Was like, he was supposed to be that guy that pointed out all this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well,
wait, finish your thought, because I'm confused now.
Louis C.K. did this one where in Schindler's List, there's this little girl that during Crystal died, her entire line, this is all she says is, "Goodbye, Jews! Goodbye, Jews!" And she just yells that out throughout the entire movie. And he said that there is a tape somewhere of little kids throughout Hollywood just auditioning for the "Goodbye, Jews" part. And there's little kids that are just doing it too nice, and then there's some that are doing it too mean. So there's all these poor kids in a casting call of just yelling out "Goodbye, Jews."
Well, and it's not just the kids, it's the parent outside the door. Yes.
Yes.
It's like,
I think it was that moment right there. I knew. You know what? Schindler's List brings people together.
It really does.
Thank you. Yeah, you can basically, the whole reason you're here right now is thanks to old Schindler and his Jew-saving ways.
Put me on the list. No, but that was great. I mean, I think that clip really shows, I let other people talk.
Yes.
I tune out. And then when it's something I know about, I jump in.
Yeah, that's basically your entire resume.
That's how to be successful in life, actually.
No, but it's good. You're very good at letting others shine, and then when they're shining a little less,
I
go
like
in
to
there and
dim
save
their
the
light.
day. Yeah, especially with Joshua McCarroll. I mean, the dude goddamn babbles. Unfortunately, I believe he's going to be on tomorrow.
Can't wait.
With and he loves it when we call him this, boss.
Oh, yes.
Anthony Cumia will be on
Mr. Cumia.
Yes. Now that he knows that he's going to be on with Joshua McCarroll, a.k.a. our homosexual strategist, he might cancel, and I would not blame him. One other benefit of having we didn't even really just touch on this. First female host on Compound.
Yep.
This is fucking history right here, people.
It is. I shatter a lot of glass ceilings.
You really do.
That's kind of what I do. But because I'm the only woman at this network, I'm the one who has to clean it up.
Well, first of all, it's your problem for passing out on glass ceilings. I keep telling you, when you enjoy the bubbly, maybe the bed, not so much the glass ceiling.
Yeah, I just have a hard fall.
You really do. You kind of Me Too open veins, and all of the blood that you clean up is your own doing, woman.
That's true.
But
Keeps me humble.
It really does, and scarred. We have all these new advertising opportunities because we've got a little bit of estrogen up in this piece. And I believe we have a new sponsor right now that we can go to. This is very exciting.
You were only a bird in a gilded cage, a beautiful sight to view. So dainty and delicate you seemed, no rights would they give to you. When you said you should vote, and you said you should smoke, the men were all in a rage. The way of the world said you should remain a bird in a gilded cage. You've come a long way, baby, to get where you got to today.
Virginia Slims. This is the taste for today's woman, with rich Virginia flavor you'll like. Tailored slim for your hands, for your lips.
You've got Virginia Slims now, baby. You've come a long, long way.
Wow! Welcome to the Compound family, Virginia Slims.
That's amazing.
Now, you are not a smoker, but I mean, considering we have Virginia Slims now, I'm kind of thinking you need to take it up.
If I'm ever going to have a Virginia, I want it to be slim.
Well, stick your finger down that Virginia throat, have her puke it all up, and she will stay slim. But
I mean, there was nothing wrong with that commercial except the pigtails.
really, that was your one takeaway from the
Yeah,
commercials.
God, that was the most glaring, heinous.
It was a little pedophile-y.
Female representation.
But it made, you know what? The good thing about when you have pigtails and you want to look, thank you. Look at how good, they get that. I believe they call it ISO in the business.
Yeah.
Look at her. Oh, wow. And that's how she stays so nice and gaunt. Just sucking away at that old Virginia Slim. Menthol or regulars, guys. Can't emphasize that enough. We'll probably be getting a whole bunch of Virginia Slims sent our way because, new sponsors and whatnot. And again, I'm going to need you to cough and cough until you finally get addicted to support our sponsor.
Yes. Everyone.
I'm not buying this enthusiasm. But again, thank you again, Virginia
The pigtails
Slims.
threw me.
Welcome. Well, and she looks older with the Virginia Slim. Do you want to... Oh, first of all, is there any other things you want to say? Any shout-outs you want to give?
Oh, gosh. I hope my parents aren't listening.
Me too.
And I hope Trump is. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, he definitely is. And please call in, President of the United States. We have much to talk about. I'm excited about our guest. Sherrod Small is supposed to be on today. He got a call. I got an email from him briefly last night, which led me to believe that he was going to wake up before 2 p.m., but I don't see him in the green room. So fuck him. If he comes in, he comes in. We don't need him.
Nah.
Yeah,
It would be nice to see him, though.
Speak for yourself. Our first guests are responsible for an amazing documentary that we will take a look at trailer-wise. But we've got the producer of said documentary, which is called The Billboard Boys.
Yes.
Don't you know? Not the Billboard Men, the Billboard Boys. Frank Petka is the producer, and Pat Taggart is the director. They're coming in right now. This is an amazing documentary that Joanne and I saw separately. We haven't moved in together just yet. Yesterday, and both loved. Thank God. This would have been an awkward interview if we didn't like it, guys. But let's take a look at the trailer, which will explain more.
Month after month, they wait. 3 men living on a billboard in Allentown.
I was young. I was unemployed.
The one who stays up there the longest wins an $18,000 mobile home.
I thought it would last about a month, maybe 2.
They have been waiting for 6 months today.
There weren't a whole lot of people that really even knew about the contest.
Once the Wall Street Journal hit, everything changed.
For the better part of a year now, Allentown, Pennsylvania has been receiving international publicity.
It ranked right up there with the spacewalk, if you judge the event by the amount of coverage it got.
We compare this almost to Orson Welles' War of the Worlds.
Some of the magazines say it was bigger than the War of the Worlds.
It was that story that was so unusual.
Dalton Young, one of the 3 men who've been living on the billboard for the last 184 days, was arrested for dealing marijuana.
I'm probably the only person in history to be arrested selling pot from a billboard.
Officials here at Town Hall have contemplated sending the housing inspector to evict the contestant.
All I can say is I'm not coming down till I get a house.
He was up there longer than we were married.
What do you do to keep yourself busy?
Temperature has dropped to 0 in February. Most snow, 24 inches. You must be talking to yourself.
These 2 gentlemen out there on the platform have said that you're exploiting them.
Who's exploiting who here?
Well, I think it's taken a drastic change. It's something nobody ever expected.
Well, we're living here in Allentown, and they're closing all the factories down.
Are you nuts?
I think it's a whole lot crazy. But I enjoy it every minute of it.
Who could dream this up?
Well, Frank and Pat, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
It was like we were talking about in the green room. It was oddly touching too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there's definitely the human element that creeps in there, and when you really learn about Allentown and the time and what people there in the community were going through, and how desperately some people needed to win this prize, which was a home, right? Tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, well, so it was 82. It was the worst economy since the Great Depression. So Reagan just came in and gave a famous speech. Hey, guys, things are really bad. We need to turn it around. So this little AM radio station in Allentown, they can only afford one billboard. They said, let's make it happen. Let's make this one stand out. We're going to put 3 guys or women up to live on this billboard, okay? Random draw of entries. You can enter as many times as you want. And whoever stays up on this billboard wins a mobile home. And when we say they had to go up, they didn't go up at 8 a.m. and come down at 5. They went up and could never come down, okay? So they just had 3 North Face tents on the platform of a billboard over the busiest highway in Allentown, and they had to stay through winter, 24 inches of snow, and man, these guys were tough.
And what was it? The blizzard of 83.
Yes.
Happened that winter. And like how do you not die? Like how do you not freeze to death?
Right. I mean, like getting sick and all the elements they're fighting, it's just insane. And the amount of entries there was over 600,000. So it was like a very popular event.
Well, one of the guys who ended up on there, he entered what, like 4,000?
47,000 times. So he worked at a home for mentally handicapped kids. So he created this assembly line where he had the kids, one would stamp it because he bought a rubber stamp that said, I need a home. So one kid would stamp, the other kid would cut, and everyone had to be hand-signed. So he was at the end of the assembly line signing these entry forms.
He employed slave child labor from differently abled.
It was the 80s. Things were a little different then. That's correct.
Bill is getting ideas.
Yeah, that, but also it wasn't the 1880s.
No, 1980s.
Oh my God.
A little less scrutiny, no internet, so you can only get in trouble locally then.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. And boy, is that that kind of is one of the more overwhelming themes you get when you watch it. It's like how different things were without the old World Wide Web as far as publicity.
Totally. Well, like so much, I think it would be a completely different contest had it happened today. I mean, things couldn't go viral as quickly, and yet these billiard
Billiard boys.
That's what I call my yard.
These Billboard Boys ended up being world known.
Yeah.
They were getting calls from reporters in Paris, in Japan.
Crazy. Where else?
Australia, France, I mean, everywhere pretty much over the free world,
And it all happened because of the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal printed an article in December. So they originally were going to bring the guys down on Christmas to give everybody a home because they thought it would only last a few weeks, maybe a month. Next thing you know, they print a front page article and bam, it just exploded. And then Billy Joel released Allentown shortly thereafter, and just insanity.
Perfect storm.
So the radio program was like, no, let's keep him up there.
Oh, of course. So the owner was this really kind of flamboyant guy. He was super rich, owned a bunch of McDonald's.
$80 million man,
Yeah, he bought Goldfinger's Rolls Royce. So this guy had a ton of money, obviously had the network. He felt really good knowing that all this publicity was coming in. His buddies were like, hey, man, we saw you, we heard you on this television station. So once this rookie reporter drives through Allentown, sees these guys up on the billboard and is like, hey, this is interesting. Next thing they know, unbeknownst to the station, by the way, they're on the air. All of a sudden, all their phone lines start lighting up. They're not they're not asking for callers. It's a little AM radio station nobody even knows about. And finally, they get word, oh my God, the Wall Street Journal printed a front page article on our contest. Overnight, people were coming from other countries to come find out about these guys because this kind of became the international symbol about how bad the times were in the States.
Without a doubt.
Like, look how bad things are that these guys have to live on a billboard to win a home.
Well, and to your point, I mean, you mentioned at the beginning, like the interest rates being what they were,
18%.
Yeah, these 3 guys, and they said it as well in the film. Like there was no way they were going to get a home any other way.
No.
This was it, and they were in it to win it.
They were
to such an unbelievable degree. It still doesn't seem real.
But the thing that I hate though is once it ended, and I mean, it's not like we're giving away anything because this is a documentary.
Let us know if there's any spoilers you don't want us to reveal.
But when they do finally get down, and then they're not forgotten about, but for the most part, it's over. It's kind of done. People move on to the next thing and they just continue to lead these sort of simple lives. If this happened today, they would be selling, tea for flat tummies, and do you know what I mean? Like they would have all these sponsorships, and they would just be these kind of personalities after it.
And that's kind of the wild part too, because no one really took advantage, so no one benefited, right? So these guys are up there, they're getting this type of publicity today is a priceless thing, and there was no sponsors. I mean, we've had some conversations with them that didn't make the cut, where they wanted to do things, but part of the station wanted to promote it, and part of it didn't. So they were kind of like at an impasse with that, but it's just insane. I mean, how big it could have been back then, pre-internet. I mean, how much would people pay for that advertisement where it's getting covered internationally? So,
gosh, totally.
There'd be webcams in every tent.
Oh yeah.
You know,
we always watch to see when the baby giraffe is gonna be birthed or whatever. You know, there would just be a live.
My wife was totally unproductive for an entire month over that freaking giraffe. So yeah, I get you. And then you could watch these guys.
Don't get me started on the baby pandas. Oh, they're just so precious and hairless. And also, I mean, speaking of just the perfect storm, you could not have picked 3 more interesting, I guess is the best way to put it, guys to be up on that there billboard. Starting with, I guess let's start with Dalton Yun, the former Army guy. Well, Joanne brought up something interesting in the green room that I didn't really think about. I mean, he's a very sweet guy, kind of lives in his own little world. And she mentioned, well, do you think there might be some PTSD involved with that? But I'm like,
he was in the Army.
But he wasn't. But there was no like Vietnam for him though.
He was in Korea.
He was in Korea.
Yeah, he was in Korea.
Interesting.
It sure was.
But like not the Korean War. He was too young for that.
I think he was hanging out. And when he came home, he's like, I want to try to find something that is close as possible to what I did in the military, which I think was hang out.
Yes.
So he went and hung out on a billboard.
Yeah.
There's the 3 of them. That's Dalton there. Well, yeah, I guess people can read.
Dalton has the best glasses, man.
You know what's really cool about this picture?
Yeah,
So this is one of my favorite stories. So if you see he has a WMMR t-shirt, this is day 1 of the contest. That is not the station that was holding the contest.
Not WSN.
The balls on him.
He didn't think anything was wrong with that.
Nobody even
shows up.
noticed it. To like, take your shirt off, you put something else on. You can't go up there with
No
that.
kidding. It was so slapdash. I mean, you would at the very least think the station would be like, you know what? Maybe don't wear that one.
Yeah, these are men who certainly don't care very much about grooming or appearance. I mean, they're on this billboard. They're not bathing.
Oh.
They are defecating into a bucket.
No showers, no toilets. I mean,
chemical toilet.
How in like you discuss this in the film, but we don't really get to the really specific ins and outs. So I'm sure everyone enjoying their breakfast right now wants to hear.
That wasn't the avenue. This is. So let's talk about it.
Yes, but like. I maybe I'm exposing my fecal ignorance here, but I don't even really know what I don't know what a chemical toilet is. Like, what were they using exactly?
So, we still don't know what it really looked like. They didn't take pictures of it, but from what we hear, it was very discreet, so it kind of sat in the corner.
On a billboard.
Dalton Young said a reporter was in one time. He's like, hey, dude, like, where do you go to the bathroom? He's like, you're sitting on it. It had like a little top.
Man.
like a bucket with some bleach in it, and just sit there, and then wait till it fills up, and then lower it to someone.
That's
Wait, lower it to someone, and then what?
And they had to take
They had
it
to go to
and
like a
dump
toilet
it
somewhere.
So
They
you had to
couldn't
be
just
real
dump it off the
strategic when
side.
you told them to come get it. You had to make sure that you were good for an hour.
How did they smell that
or
in
else,
there?
It's
Oh my God.
so they had to get their own ground help. So for food, they had to get people. They had a bucket. Hopefully, there were 2 different buckets.
I
Yeah.
sure
The
hope
food
so.
bucket, the food bucket, and the ship.
Environmentalism only
Totally
goes so
different,
far. Yeah.
So you had to lower, and then when it filled, they would lower it down. Someone had to take it. Dalton's mom had an arrangement with the gas station where they'd let them take it and dump it, and all of a sudden the gas station, after like 3 or 4 months, was like, enough. We don't want you bringing your bucket here anymore. So she had to get all the way home. So he had to cork it for like an hour until she got back.
I mean, people had to throw it off the side. I mean, they had to do that too. So
Nighttime,
God knows what
right?
it smelled like around there. It was just
So reporters are like excited to go, but also wearing the rain boots.
Yeah,
Absolutely. The hazmat gear.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like you can't help but think about the whole, as you said, the whole hygiene element. I mean, how bad did it get just from outside perspective too? I mean, like, would the reporters be able to smell them from far away? They were not. I mean, did they take what kind of bathing would they try to do? Like, how did that work?
really. I mean, some of
Wipes?
the, there's no wipes.
kidding.
I don't know. I mean, we really didn't see any paper products in any of the footage, but we didn't get a reporter, so.
They didn't mention that it was nasty or
I mean,
anything.
the Wall Street Journal, the journalist Betsy Morris said it was just completely awful.
Yeah,
Like,
she said it was
she wanted to go up and
terrible way
come
to
down. It
live.
was disgusting, But the others, just like the one guy wanted to live the experience from Rolling Stone.
Yeah, the
so
Rolling Stone
He
guy.
went up and stayed for like several hours, and that's the only visitors they were allowed. So they weren't allowed anyone else.
Well,
the
they
whole
got two
time.
conjugals, man.
Two conjugals.
Oh, we'll get to that. That's at least 20 minutes right there. The specifics on that blow.
Or personal visits.
Yeah.
You know, you could choose. You could bring your mom up if you wanted.
And it's just like, so they were told that they were allotted food. So the station would pay for their food, correct?
No.
Totally incorrect.
Nothing.
They would starve to death if it was up to
Yeah.
the station. You had to get your own people to send up food.
You had to have a person that was an aide on the ground, nothing to do with the station or the contest, and if you didn't, then you're...
Oh my!
Well, and it was Billy. What was the guy who had the wife?
That was Mike McKay.
No, not Mike.
Ron Kistler had the girlfriend that sat there every day.
Girlfriend,
Yeah.
So she said there was one day I wasn't there. I would go every day and sit and spend time
Every
with them.
day.
But there was one day I didn't. And why didn't you? Oh, because there was a blizzard and I physically couldn't get there.
Just back then,
Like,
yeah, I mean...
you hold on to that woman.
Yeah, no.
My God.
He did.
They don't make them like that anymore.
No,
They married up
kidding.
afterwards and had a life. And
Oh, absolutely. And like, so they're getting the food, which you need. I'm told that you need food to live. But the other thing, and which is paramount throughout the entire thing, is the amount of smoking. I remember there's like one shot. There's like one shot where like all the reporters are there, and it is just, it's like a field of cigarette butts just around there. So like they've got friends and family just like throwing them packs of cigarettes.
What else do you do?
Well, yeah.
You watch
No
traffic
internet,
for 9
no
months,
TV.
you know? I mean,
I'd take up smoking if I wasn't one already.
would I.
Virginia Slims, remember?
Yeah.
that's right.
Shout out to our
Thanks,
sponsor.
Virginia Slims.
Thanks, Virginia Slims.
That's all they smoked up on the billboard, too, by the way.
Huh?
That's all they smoked up there were Virginia
just
Slims.
cigarettes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Also, couldn't that be dangerous?
What, smoking on
Fire
billboard?
hazard.
Yeah, I
I
have
mean,
to imagine.
on a
What do you think
billboard.
about that?
It's all wood, the ladders, everything is wood.
Listen, one of the many reasons why a lot of people we've spoken to said you could never replicate this contest today. You would never get permission to put 3 people up to live on a
We
billboard.
want to,
today.
though.
We would love to. We'd
anyone's
love to see it
interested,
happen
we're-
again. I think it would be
Oh my God, are you
know?
kidding me?
You like to go?
Jesus.
I would not.
In a date with Joe?
Oh no.
No way.
No.
That's look, everyone
Not
loses.
worth it.
if it's
No.
a date. But like, how long would you last?
Man.
You're a tough broad. I can see you going without
and
the
that's
shower
the thing.
for a while.
When I decide to commit to something and like I can get competitive, so I wouldn't want to embarrass myself. So probably a solid 2 days.
Me too.
That's fair. That's fair.
Tops. But then, but that's the thing. Looking at these men, the level of commitment
Oh my God, yes.
and it gets to a point too where it's like, well, I cannot come down now. But then it also must be like one of those I forget the name of it, but you like the your situation, like
Stockholm syndrome.
yeah. So maybe if they were to come down, like they would just want to go back up.
Like prison, right?
You know,
People that are in
yeah.
prison, they can't adapt. Like, you just get
It's
used
like
to
the
it.
mental kind of the changes that happen must be crazy.
Oh, I have to imagine.
And they had a phone. Now,
did.
and how did that work?
Just a
Because the last I
landline.
checked, this was not the time of T-Mobile.
This
Like,
was
how
not.
was this? How did that? What were the specifics on that one?
Well, so the station put it in there so they can communicate with the guys, right?
Right.
That was the idea. It was a radio station.
Well, like if
where
they
people
wanted to
talk.
come down, they would have to call because there was no way to get down. Someone had to bring a ladder for them to get down.
Yeah.
They were stuck until they called.
But it spiraled out of control, the whole phone thing. So at some point, a French reporter came over, and they wound up publishing the 3 numbers in the French newspaper. So all of a sudden, these guys were getting
Hundreds of
thousands
calls,
of
yeah,
phone
a
calls
day,
every
yeah.
day from French people that were just like, "We are French," and that's all they could say in English. And they had nothing to do, so they're like, "Cool, I'm Ron," and they would just talk to them. And finally, they wound up changing their numbers. But they would just they would ring up huge phone bills because they had nothing else to do.
Now, the 3 rules, at least at the beginning, was no booze, no dope, and no TV. The first one, booze, right away you're seeing crowds throwing them 6-packs and stuff like that. So the station just sort of looked over that, and they gave them like a bottle of wine each for Thanksgiving and
Thanksgiving,
stuff.
Did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Well, that's a special occasion.
Yeah, true. I like how
Cornish
each one
hen.
got their own bottle of wine.
Yes, I'm not sharing wine if I'm up on a billboard.
Oh God, no. Yeah.
I think they kind of overlook certain things. I mean, you have to give these guys some kind of once winter hit, man, and it's like 10 degrees.
Who's
and
gonna
you got these
check?
guys living in a
Yeah.
tent.
Yeah, no kidding. And, might as well. Let's go to the conjugal visit thing.
Yes.
The fact that there was sex on the billboard was just... Start from the beginning. How the fuck? I have so many questions. But
I don't know if we have the answers. I mean, so
maybe you should.
You do. You have. What couldn't you tell us in that documentary?
Right.
I know you have to figure
Bonus
out
cuts.
what you want to put in for whatever audience you're aiming for.
Right.
So Mike McKay, who's he was newly married, so he's a newlywed. 3 months in, he tells his wife, "I want to go live on this billboard." So all of a sudden,
better or worse, honey?
Yeah. It's real, but I'm going. Yeah.
So she said they got to go up twice. Both times he brought her, obviously, right? So, but she said that when we interviewed her, ex-wife now, she said you had to be really careful with your movements up there because the board
Old
shook.
wooden, like shaky platform.
So anything you were doing, everybody else knew. So with those conjugal visits, they had to be a little bit more discreet probably than they would have liked.
Was he the only one that partook in the boinking on the billboard?
I hope so, because Dalton brought his mom up the one time. So I'm going to go ahead and say that was a no-go.
They were just exercising.
Yes. He just resorted to touching himself to the sound of traffic.
Every time he hears a truck.
I gotta get one out. You gotta beat it out real quick.
Wheeler.
And the creaky aspect, but also like, and I guess it's like, how do you delicately bring this up to the wife? But I gotta just assume. Talk about she needs a medal for being just the wife that she was. The overall hygiene aspect of going up there, because I don't know how long they were before they were allowed the conjugal visit, but I mean, talk about taking one for the team.
Well, I will say it's winter when the majority of this happened, so
6 months
at
later.
least they weren't like super sweaty.
Yeah, that's true.
Summer heat and all that stank.
Thank you, Professor Positive. I'm starting to look at this a whole new way. Maybe I wouldn't mind having sex with him now that I think about it. But
we'll
make a call. You've been so good to us. It's only right.
Oh, I like the payola via sex with a billboard boy. That's never thought that one would come out of the mouth.
Yeah.
Now, and so the other thing, so we covered the booze, overlooked it. No TV. I guess that was still the time of Watchmen. You could have that.
Yeah.
Dope. This is another plot point that you really didn't see coming when you think of 3 guys on a billboard, but there was a marijuana issue. If we want to discuss.
And I think that's probably the first thing I said. Within 10 seconds of the time I called you on the phone and said, I want to tell this story, I probably mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
God,
so
yeah.
He was like, I'm in. And once he read that, he's like, this is great. It's hilarious, which is always what we try to do, make it, a little bit fun, whatever project.
You want to walk through the whole thing?
So, yeah, good old doll. And I mean, again, obviously don't say so, we want to touch on a lot of this stuff, but we still want you to watch this whole thing. But, and you have to, obviously this isn't doing justice, but good old Dalton Young.
Yes.
What happened there?
All right, so Dalton's fresh out of the military. He walks in the front door, and his mom's like, "There's this contest you got to get on." And so he really didn't have a choice. She entered him.
Yes.
Contest. She put in
all of his things.
all 1,000.
He was around
1,000.
a little over
Yeah.
1,000.
He had 1,000 entries. His mom did them all, and so he goes up there. Now he's at the billboard. He's a chronic smoker. He smokes every day. And so he's hanging out on the billboard one day, and this guy shows up because people would show up at the foot of the billboard. And this guy befriends him, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm new to the area. I was in the military as well. We have a kinship. We were both in the Army." So he keeps showing up. Finally, he's like, "Hey, do you get high?" Dalton's like, "Yeah, I get high." He's like, "Can you get me some?" And he said, "No, man, I got enough for my own head," as he puts it. Not enough for you, but if you want to come up, I'll share. And he's like, "No, I'll try to get my own." And a couple of days later, he just kept calling him and showing up. Finally, Dalton's like, "Look, man, I'll get you a half an ounce." Is that what it was?
That's
a half
right.
an ounce?
Yeah, half an ounce, yep.
And so he lowers a half an ounce down the bucket. And by the way, at the time, the guy's down below and he's hitting a bowl. Like Dalton said, I clearly saw the bowl light up.
Yes.
He's hitting a bowl below. So he lowers his pot down. The guy says, I'm going to send you up some money. And Dalton's like, "Don't worry about it, man." Like he legitimately wanted to get the guy off.
What do I need this money for right now?
Yeah, exactly.
What am I going to spend? There's no Amazon, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can't get out to a bar. So I have nothing to spend my money on. So lowers the pot down. 2 days later, he's asleep in his tent. And all of a sudden, he hears somebody unzipping the tent. And he's like, "I thought it was a reporter," because there was constantly, reporters coming up. It was like, 6 police cars?
Yeah, a whole bunch of overload cops there.
Oh.
So it was an undercover. He sold an undercover, totally got entrapped. It was bullshit. And you feel awful for him. Like, even the competitors, even the other guys are like, "He got trapped."
It makes your head hurt. It's like goddamn tragic. And there was sort of like they kind of danced around it. Like it was still never really clear, but it was absolutely entrapment, and it was definitely an undercover. But we're still not we don't really have the specifics of, like, for a fact that it was.
Well, we
correct?
tried. The police would not talk to us.
Yeah.
We had one police officer from the township at the time that was on duty that talked a little bit, but he was kind of different when the camera was rolling.
Well, no, and
On the
his
phone, he
sort
was-
of defense of the department was like, if you're dumb enough
it was
to, like, you're an adult, you should know not to just give a half ounce to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
like,
it, yeah.
okay, but you're not saying it was an entrapment either. So
Yeah, no kidding. Actually, you're right. That was kind of the giveaway right there. Yeah. Oh, the poor bastard.
It was tough for me. My dad was in law enforcement. And I feel like when we were doing this, it was a time where everybody was piling on the cops.
Okay,
so it
yeah.
was a little bit difficult for me because I'm like, here's another shot in the face, you know?
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
I'm
You're
not
right.
Law enforcement, but you can't tell the story without that. When we interview 18 people and 17 people are like, oh yeah, he got entrapped.
Yeah, no kidding.
story.
It's and it's in the one of the many great things about the documentary is you really do see what an absolutely different time it was. And this is another case in point. The drug laws and the way people just viewed weed, because this is in the middle of just sort of like, I think Nancy Reagan was on the verge of doing her Just Say No thing.
That's right.
And this was a different time. And that was, I mean, now like, you get, I've read, I mean, you get busted smoking a joint on the street, they don't even, I don't even think they give you a ticket anymore half the time.
Yeah, New York.
Yeah, they just sort of look the other way. But this was a whole other can of worms. I mean, this guy got it bad. I mean, if you want to touch a little bit on what, like, he's got a felony now.
He's got a freaking felony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And he was out of the contest.
Yes.
He was the first one to go. And
he would get a color TV for third place if he was proven innocent, which he wasn't. So for 200 days up there, what he got was a felony.
And was he given anything just out of like, even though because even though he wasn't proven innocent, was he
like here you helped us earn international attention? Here's a door prize.
Yes.
No.
Well, I at least wanted him to get a girlfriend. I mean, think about it.
Yes.
With a lot of they were small town celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So were there women or like fans who would go? I mean, the one was married, the other had the girlfriend. But you think about guys in prison; they have more like female fans. So
No, there definitely were, for sure. But what happened was it became kind of a black eye up there in the Lehigh Valley because, it's the drug guys, it's the drug contest. And that's kind of what we're running into right now today. We're approaching the Lehigh Valley Chamber, and they're like, no, we don't want to talk about that. We don't like Billy Joel's Allentown. This is a horrible time. We don't.
Yeah.
It's just like, guys, can you just
yeah.
watch and give it a shot? But they're like, no, drugs. And it's
interesting?
Time was that. So it's the folks that, that age, they're just hearing drug and they're out and they don't even want to, But when we do get folks to watch it, we've had screenings up there, like some private ones, and people love it and really good feedback.
Why wouldn't they?
People
Yeah.
buy into it.
Yeah, I think that was a time, with Bethlehem Steel closing, that provided jobs for that whole area. So people just kind of want to block out that whole early 80s portion.
I'll bet.
know?
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about it when we were looking at the trailer, but what were some of the roadblocks you guys ran into while making this flick? And maybe start off with the Donahue thing.
Oh,
that's fascinating.
Look, I mean, we saw that. So they had the owner of the station was Harold Fulmer. His right-hand man's a guy named Mike. And Phil Donahue came out. He's like, we want these Billboard guys on the Donahue show. And they're like, okay. He's like, we want you to take them off the billboard and fly them out. And they were like, no, we're not doing that. All right, well, then we want Mr. Fulmer. And they're like, you're not getting the station owner. We'll send our right-hand man. So they fly this guy out to Chicago. And the interview's it's awesome. Because
God, yeah, it looked like he handled himself okay, actually.
Well, he made the greatest point that I heard in this whole thing because they're like, you're exploiting these guys. He's like, hey, man, how many times did you enter? And the guy's like, 47,000? Like, clear. How's that exploitation? If you set out the rules, and you'd say how many times, and you enter 47,000 times. But the other thing he said was, Phil, let me tell you something. He said, we paid $750 for a billboard. We had $250 in utilities. We spent $1,000 and generated international attention pre-internet, Let me see you give $1,000 to the best ad agency in the world and see if you can generate international attention.
Fucking brilliant.
He crushed him.
Yeah.
And of course, that landed on the editorial floor.
That one really spoke to me. Unfortunately, it's readily available on the internet. But I was when I was at Emerson College, I was invited by a friend to come on Geraldo Rivera's show, which at the time was very much like Donahue's.
Huge.
And I I did not know it was going to be titled Campus Crimes. I was there to talk about some kid that had died at a MIT frat, and he drank himself to death. And I had been to that frat, like one of their parties. Shockingly, I didn't go to MIT. I know, right? Look at me. So I was on there. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll be on TV. But I didn't know it was going to be called Campus Crimes. And the friend of mine who was producing it was like an intern, but she went to Emerson as well. What I didn't know was that she had video of me blackout drunk freshman year urinating on myself. And that was...
It wasn't your fault.
Thank you. That's what I look at I look in the mirror every day, and so they railroaded me, and so I thought I had all these talking points, and I was really nervous. I was ready to talk about Scott Kruger dying, and all of a sudden I hear because I couldn't see Geraldo, I hear in my earpiece. All right, now Billy. They call me Billy back then. I didn't ask for it. Billy, you're a big drinker. I was like, no, but I'm here to talk about MIT. He's like, you're a big drinker, Billy. I admit it. And I was like, well, Geraldo, I don't really know what you're saying. He's like, all right, well, if that's the way you're going to play it, let's go to the tape. And the first thing I said was, I didn't know there was going to be any tape. And when that scene happened in your movie, of course, they edited that part out. You never heard me say there was going to, And then they go and he's narrating it, and I'm just like listening and hearing him say, it appears you're pissing on yourself now, Bill. Blur it out, and you can see the stain under me getting bigger.
You may be the only person Geraldo Rivera's ever said that to.
Yeah, exactly.
That is awesome.
and then like right afterwards, and like I kind of like mumbled my way through it, but then right afterwards again, I was like, no one told me that was going to happen. All of that edited out. So when he mentioned that, I very much felt empathy. But and so how did you get the Donahue? Explain how you were able to get the Donahue clip.
I'll turn it to him. All I said was we really need this Donahue footage, and then he took over.
Yeah, so kind of getting that footage, there's a variety of ways to do that online now with different archival sites. So going to different networks and everything, but even paying a couple $100 for that screener, which is time coded and everything, then you have to go to the next step. Well, how much is it going to cost? And it's like crazy money, $365 a second.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Well, that's kind of the subscription rate for Compound.
That's what I heard.
It's worth it.
Well worth it, but so fortunately we were able to obtain 95% of the footage from the local station that was covering it up in Allentown. So they made like a reasonable deal with us to get that. But the Donahue footage we had to actually get. We got the screener, and they said, okay, well, we can't even give you a quote until you get approval from Phil. What? Is Phil still alive? Like, I don't even know what's going on with Phil. Right? So I mean, then it started to just kind of like exhaust the different contacts I had, and NBC Universal and CBS and everything. And then I got an agent's number, and I talked to her. What do you want? And I just explained, and I kept emailing, calling. And then she's like, what do you want? We need a release. We need Phil to sign a release. Well, can you just write the release up and send it? And it just was like month after month after month. And then I got her on the phone. I got her cell phone number somehow. And I got her, and she's like,
I wish I was as good of a reporter. This is unbelievable.
He's a bulldog,
God
man.
damn.
Like another country. She's like, I'm on vacation. I'll be back on whatever. So I circled and I called her that day, and she answered, and I said, listen, I don't know. I didn't see your email. I'm sending it right now. Are you in front of a computer? Yeah, here it comes. You see it? I see it. Okay, open it. It's the release. Can you look at it? And she did.
Having to literally walk her through.
Power of attorney. She had it, signed it, and faxed it. In fact, scanned it back and sent it to me, and then we were okay. So same thing, like the Billy Joel stuff was tough. We have some things in there with Inside the Actors Studio, and
what were the roadblocks there?
Same type of thing.
Billy doesn't like to be
He's just a king, that's why. God, I love Billy Joel.
She's a big old Billy Joel fan.
Oh, really?
Yes, I love Billy
So do we.
Joel.
Yeah, we do.
But he probably didn't want to be associated with the fact that the storyline of just everyone in that area not liking the song and him for doing it.
You just get to his people.
He still hasn't watched it yet. His agent, his business partner,
you just get to his people.
They're pretty good, but
they make their
they took
decisions.
almost 3 years. I mean, literally to actually talk to
Wait, how long did this whole process take?
About 3 years. Yeah,
that is
from the time we read
Billy Joel.
About 4-ish, and now.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, once we got to the absolute final cut, a few
long
more
time.
little late modifications. We're almost.
I mean,
at 4.
I would think to myself at least 75 times, maybe I should just stop. Do you ever get to that
That was the
point?
first day. So Joanne, so the first day, we went out and we did 3 interviews. It was Mike McKay's ex-wife who told us about the visits, and then it was Dalton Young. And then the third one was Ron Kistler, one of the 3, and his now wife, who was his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
So we go into that interview, and we're thinking, they're going to be, this was an amazing experience. It changed our life. Look what we won. Blah blah blah.
It was a love story, we thought.
Yeah, we're like, this is a great love story, and it was the most uncomfortable interview of my life. They just sat there, they're like, something we did. We moved on.
Yes and no, yes and no.
And it was like that for 45 minutes. And I went home and I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, I quit. You know, why do we want to make a movie and one of the principals in it doesn't think the subject's interesting? Why should we think it's
That's what's so interesting.
Yes.
How about it?
Like, watching it, he's just like, meh. He always does these like, meh.
This isn't a spoiler as far as plot points are concerned, but yeah, the last thing in the movie, the last word is him just going, meh. It was a perfect way to end it. Yeah.
You know, it was cool. We did our premiere for just really for the folks that were involved and family and friends. And when the movie was over, I walked out. I'd never told a story about real people's lives before. So you walk out, and I just ran to the bathroom. I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I was just trying to hide a little bit.
You had to go. You did. It's okay.
Well, I did. I didn't have to, though. It was a preemptive strike. So I walked out, and the first person that came out of the theater was Ron Kistler. And he's walking up to me, kind of a beeline, and I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. And he walks up and he puts his hand out and he goes, I guess it was more interesting than I thought it was at the time.
Oh wow!
I was like, that's really cool. Like that was kind of justification, right? Like, thank you. I
And
wish
that
you
was-
said this 3 years ago.
Yeah, those are probably the most words you heard come out of his mouth for most of the
I mean,
He just doesn't talk.
Your creative was the reason why it got to where it got to, because he was checked out on the whole thing. And we go there and they have like this treasure chest of memorabilia from everything, from T-shirts, and they had VHS tapes, and they
From
had
the event, yeah.
hundreds and hundreds. But no, it didn't mean anything in our life. Huh? Well, you just showed us all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got married, you had a kid, you still live here, you got a car, you got the job.
Yes.
We would have figured it out. Like maybe humble people, prideful. I don't understand.
yeah.
It's like
still
working class people. you
Yes.
know?
It's real, and they were so nice to us, and like embracing, but not embracing of the story.
Yeah, it's
They were okay with
very,
a couple bucks to talk about it.
Yeah,
They didn't talk about it.
Well, and a case of beer too.
Case of
Again,
beer. Case of Bush, a NASCAR video.
Made
We're
me
good.
love all of them. God, they like all the same things I like. Not showering, beer, smoking and just throw it. Yeah,
Put it in a bucket.
Poop, crapping in a bucket. Now we're getting too close to my apartment, but yeah, I mean, they were very much, as much as I hate the cliche, just salt of the earth people. You know, they really were. And I don't want to get into what happened or didn't happen with as far as Mike McKay is concerned, but with regards to Dalton Young, you gotta see the movie, kids. As far as Dalton Young and Ron Kistler are concerned, how much interaction do you guys have with them now? Have things changed for them since the movie debut? What's going on with them right now?
Well, my favorite thing to tell people about Dalton Young is the guy that got busted for pot is now a drug counselor.
Yes. Oh my God. I didn't even
Addiction counselor, yeah.
He's an addiction counselor.
He's an addiction counselor. Do you see kind of all these elements that, we found the story in a 30-year look back newspaper article, and we read it, we're like, first of all, there's no way this is true. Secondly, there had to be something done. Like the plot elements and these characters are so good that there's no way somebody didn't take this and run with it. And so now, not only did we do the doc, but we're actually developing a narrative feature script.
I was going to ask that because it's a movie. Yeah, without a doubt.
I don't want to direct it.
Then I'm not watching it.
No, I don't want to direct
it.
We just want to create. We want to write it. I mean, we have 8 hours worth of interview footage from these people, so there's so many details you just can't put in a doc.
Oh my God!
And if you think about it, like I, Tonya,
Yes.
Looking at that perspective, and again, like working class people, like there is something really fascinating about these characters. Even though they're real, they are such characters and entertaining. And God, I just think that would be so good.
Yeah.
See if Margot Robbie's available to play the wife.
Oh,
that
yeah,
would be
she could do
great.
it.
Oh, yeah.
She could do it. I'm trying to think who would be Ron Kistler. We gotta cast this.
Margot Robbie's in. I want to direct. See that changes things. I want to be involved.
And I will be your key grip.
Or something. Yes,
I don't know what a key grip is. Maybe I'll be your best boy.
Yes.
I don't know what that is either, but hey, whatever you want.
It means you're there every day.
Yeah.
And
Well,
she's
either way,
there
I
every
will
day.
pay you to be the best boy. So
Amen.
If anything, that makes me a better boy. But
You
yeah,
can
I will
dye
be-
your hair blonde. He had the nice flowing blonde hair, and
Yes.
his girlfriend
Yeah.
show up, and
Yes.
you guys get along well.
You deserve it.
Well, you know who I was thinking, and this is, I don't want to be too maudlin here, but you know who would have made a great Ron Kistler, R.I.P., is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh, yeah.
He would have killed it as
Yes.
Ron.
Yeah,
But do you do two different casts for the younger and then the older, or do you do like age progression?
Yeah, I wonder,
They didn't really age that badly, though. They looked a lot like they were noticeably older, but you could see it was them.
That's just because they're men. They look good. Son of a bitch.
You saw where I was
I
going.
can't
with it.
imagine why the Benjamin Button special effects folks wouldn't want to jump on this and help us with these.
Totally.
Exactly. We're already uploading the budget to huge amounts. But so, who would you cast for Dalton Young?
Here's the thing. If I say any of this, I'm like co-exec producer. Let's be real right now.
Let's
document it. Yep.
Also, we're getting you to be one of the
Oh, wait. What's his name? I don't know. I feel like Daniel Craig's kind of a reach. But who's the other guy? He's in something and he has those big bulging eyes.
Big bulging eyes.
This is really bad. I can't remember this.
All right. He's scared a lot. Sinbad, that's the perfect casting.
That's the guy, right?
I was like, you need a redheaded black comedian from the 80s to play Dalton Young.
I'll think of his name by tomorrow, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's going to be without a things. You'll figure it out at
It'll be fun to cast.
Yeah.
Some people said Zach Galifianakis as Mike McKay.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
He'd be awesome.
Or Joaquin
Brilliant.
Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Well, you know what?
Not
He
rapper
can just play
Joaquin
anyone.
Phoenix, right?
He is that talented. Dalton Young, who would it be? But he was definitely one of the more fascinating ones. Well, also with the addiction counseling thing was, I mean, I'm assuming whatever addiction issues he had, it wasn't just weed. I mean, what was sort of his storyline behind? Was he just addicted to pot? That's why he became
to smoke pot. I mean, yeah.
So he never had any issues of his own. He just became, because I usually, when I hear addiction counselor, I usually think that person had an issue with chemicals.
No, not at all. No,
okay.
no,
Oh,
he
that's interesting.
never
Gotcha.
burned out. He's just a dude that liked to smoke his pot. That's all. And
I wanna
hell, he
hang
went
out
over
with
and
him in
served
so
for our
many
country.
ways.
So hey, listen.
Yeah. Oh, are you
Smoke your pot,
kidding me?
smoke your pot.
Yeah. Next one's on me.
Yeah, that's all.
Jesus. And what was like just at the top of your head, maybe like something that hit the cutting room floor that you wish was in, or if there was a reason why I went to the cutting room? Is there just something that you wish was in there, but for whatever reason didn't make the final cut?
Well, that's the poop, right?
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I want to be.
Aside from that, is that where we're going?
I do want to. I still think we're not clear on what this chemical bucket poop thing really looks like.
Yeah,
We're gonna reenact it.
Yeah, I'm available.
Yeah, I think it's.
Just give me a heads up the night before. I'll hit Chili's. You got it.
Yeah, no,
I'm your
I
man.
love Chili's.
So do I.
I'd like to keep loving it.
Too late. That
You just ruined it for her.
me a day after Chili's squatting over a chemical bucket is all you're ever going to think about whenever you enjoy
What did they eat?
family
They
fun.
ate canned food too, right? So it was all cans.
Oh, it
of
was all
soup and
beans. Yeah, they
cans
lived
of
on beans.
beans. It was
Canned
like
beans for
army
9 months and
food
spam.
Well, and
Healthy as
No
horses.
microwave, no.
I hesitate to use phrases like PTSD when we're talking about at least one of the guys that was on the Billboard who was an actual vet. But with regards to just sort of like the psychological, the physical, we kind of already covered the hygienic. I mean, what were some of the biggest hardships from them that you thought of? Was it more, did they physically just destroy them, mentally, both? Like, what did they say were just sort of some lasting things that sort of hit them for doing this?
You know, I think so different for all the guys. I think for Dalton, he missed partying and he missed women.
Yeah, I can see that, sure.
Because that's where he was. He was a 23-year-old guy at the time.
Oh yeah, that's
fresh out of the military. You know, just got back from Korea. He's like, man, I'm gonna live my life.
A long time. 1 week's a long time.
Yeah, not
His mother didn't want him to be partying and be with women, so she signed him up.
Might actually, I didn't even think about that.
very true.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I want him to do something with his life. Go on a billboard.
She actually said
that was the only option.
Yeah, she said the great thing about this is I know where he lives and he's always home.
Yes, you're right.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I completely forgot about that.
What a
God,
cool line.
Billboard is babysitter. That makes so much well, how about like Mike or Ron? Like, did they suffer any physical repercussions, or was it again just a mental thing? Like, I'm just interested in like the lasting scars of this. You know,
Well, the Mike thing is probably most interesting to us. Kind of what it did to him. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Mike, it seemed he could never let go of it. You know, he had that fleeting fame for him. He wanted the cameras to still be on and all that, and he just never really recovered, as we learned from his ex-wife. He was such a big character in there.
Yes.
I mean, fortunately, he had passed away, unfortunately, but fortunately enough, he was such a big...
I was gonna
so
let
much
you guys say that
footage.
whether or not you wanted to, but yeah,
We'll drop some spoiler alerts.
Yeah, okay.
Spoiler.
We can bleep it out for the
Yeah.
T part. Yeah.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, he just wanted to hold on to something that wasn't there. You know, all he had, as we say in the film, was just a trailer, a home, and a car, and he just wanted so much more.
But again, like if it were during this time that happened, instead of the 80s, if it happened now, like he would have had more. Totally. I mean, he was like a prankster. You know, you go over that in this documentary, like all this stuff he would do. He was the personality and the voice of the group, and he totally could have done a lot with it.
Yeah, wrong time, right place, wrong time, right?
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
wasn't
he
for
be
lack of
selling
trying
tents and
either.
everything else.
Yeah, he did try to talk about sponsorships and promotions, and according to the radio personnel, they said things were in the works for that, and then Dalton and got the bust.
Yeah, the bust.
And then it
and
kind of
it's
like soured it, like
God,
for everybody.
there's so many
you know,
heartbreaking
it's-
aspects of this.
So that's some stuff maybe we would perhaps get put in there if we were able to script it. How that all went down behind the scenes with opportunity for promotion that never came to fruition because of the drug bust.
That's another good question. If you were to make this into a scripted film, what would you romanticize? Or is there anything that you would want to kind of make a little more glamorous or different?
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I certainly think that you could really, because the interesting thing about this film and the archival footage that exists is there would be no coverage, and then something would happen, and then everybody would rush out. So while we have a lot of video, so like the pot bust, for example, there might not have been cameras there for a month before that because it's just guys sitting on a billboard. Then all of a sudden the pot bust happens, everybody from around the world comes. So I think, you have opportunities to bring out what they would do on a daily basis to keep themselves sane. Not only that, but what they did to try to drive each other crazy, because there was a lot of that going on.
Oh my God!
To try to get them to leave.
Yeah, well, you guys touch on it a little bit, but like, what would they do? Because the very interesting thing was, it took about 3 months for them to even start talking to each other.
Oh yeah,
they don't have anyone else to talk to.
They didn't acknowledge each other's presence. I mean, they were competitive. Yeah.
And but so, what would they do? What were some of their tactics?
Well, so the one guy would shake the billboard mercilessly. And because it would just rattle,
It already was in motion anyway because it was really.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
This is right in the airfield of an international airport. So giant planes would fly over on their descent, and it would shake the billboard. And then you have tractor trailers blowing by. It would shake the billboard.
Right there.
Oh my God!
So every now and then, if you get a little piece, after the plane stopped landing, this guy would freaking shake the billboard, and then you have your transistor radios. The other guy had a CB radio that would screw up their transmission, so they couldn't listen to their music. And then Mike McKay, of course, would scream down to anybody that would listen, even if there was nobody there. I'm having a great time. I think I'm going to stay for 3-4 years. So it's just these mind games that were going on, and they were so competitive. They had all committed that we're just not going to get down. I think that if Dalton Young wasn't busted, you were looking at a multi-year event.
I don't think anyone would have come down if he didn't get busted, and the station would just let it keep going. But they tried to stop it with the housing authority. They talked about no smoke alarms. They considered the billboard their home. They taxed them as a home.
Yes.
So like the township was trying to, make it come to an end, and then the police got involved. So we feel like there was a lot of like collusion behind the scenes that we would certainly try to identify in a feature.
Yeah.
This has to be a movie.
Yeah.
This has to be
Very
a movie.
We think so. We're biased.
And we're going to have you pack on some pounds to play the wife. And again, not that she's a big woman, but she, you're very slight.
I might have
we need to give you some PA pounds.
I might have to switch from the Virginia Slims then.
And can we edit that out, guys? We value our new sponsors. Have you learned anything? Haven't you auditioned for commercials? Jesus fucking Christ. What a scar on the first goddamn show. Listen, guys, before we go, where can viewers find it online? Is it available yet online? Because I know we watched the media one, but
of course.
So tell us. I mean, we had it on the Chirons, all the stuff you say to me, but
yeah, absolutely. Just released this
promote.
week. Yeah, just released this week on iTunes and Amazon.
Awesome.
Search Billboard Boys. Oddly enough, on Amazon, you search Billboard Boys. It's like the 4th option below an Under Armour knit hat, which I don't know their algorithm, but
we own 4.
Find it pretty easily. iTunes and Amazon, and BillboardBoys.com has a ton of info as well. You learn a lot about the story.
And by the way, Joanne and I like to overplan. Aside from anything that has to do with important life matters, but we had a million stories here today.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get to any of them because that's how fascinating this movie is. I urge everyone to see it post haste. Anything else, you guys? Any upcoming appearances you want to plug? Anything like that?
Well, we next project is about a guy named Nick Lightning, and he's a guy that kind of created this persona for himself as a rock star. He wasn't happy with reality, so he created his own. And so
I love
You may have met him.
Yeah, we may have brought him along today.
Oh, that was. Oh my God.
That is
Talk
amazing.
about burying the lead.
That's the great Nick Lightning out there.
Well, Nick, we'll have to get you on next time as far as your rock star lifestyle is concerned. And I can tell the guy parties.
Oh,
I want to party with him.
Ginger ale all day.
Oh,
He loves
puts
women.
the ale in
He
ginger
loves
ale.
women. He loves soda. He's
pretty much
Is there anything else in life? Come on.
Thank you.
We just want to find these cool stories like Billboard, where we don't want to be the 10th person to do the JFK assassination. You got to find cool stories and unearth them, and have some.
We
fun.
want to have fun. Yeah, make people
no
laugh
doubt.
for sure.
I'm told some people think Lee Harvey Oswald didn't do it. It's crazy. I've got to look more into that. But maybe that should be something you guys do. What did you think?
I really want people to watch this.
Thank you.
I really do.
I mean, about your first fucking show.
Oh.
I knew where he was going with that. I just wanted to thank you.
Yeah,
That was super cool of you.
As much as I like talking about myself, this is great. You're a great co-host.
Oh, shut
You guys have such great chemistry.
Because she fucking patronizes
super
me like
sincere.
that. No, come on. She's an actress.
And you're a great co-host.
She is an actress.
There's no prompter here.
There isn't. It's true.
That was
Welcome, darling.
Thank you.
Any final thoughts?
We're back tomorrow.
Well, now I'm depressed. Guys might recommend the going away song here. I don't know if that's a term.
Billy.
Yeah. It's away.
Yes, John.
See, they're feeling it.